What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. My name is Mikey. Hold on, let me adjust you guys. Hold on here. Before we get into this, I would just like to say a quick disclaimer. If you find anything having to do with mental health, or possibly that word that begins with S that I'm not gonna say because it could be triggering, if anything along those lines you find to be triggering, please click off this video. I do not want people getting hurt, okay? If you think you can handle it, you can stay, but please do not watch this video if you find anything having to do with mental health triggering, because I do not want anyone getting hurt. Let's get into this. So this is my third video in a row that I'm just kind of sitting here, kind of talking to you guys, and it's already a different video because I honestly had no idea what I was going to film. I kind of figured it wouldn't be a cover, but you know, stuff happens. And but then I was kind of hit with the idea that maybe I should talk about mental health, because that is something, you know, a lot of people don't talk about. You know, it's kind of one of those taboo subjects in society, and it's just, if you don't talk about it, people get hurt. You know, that's kind of my mentality about it. That's my mentality when it comes to a lot of stuff. You know, if someone doesn't talk about the LGBT, and then if they have a child and that child is something other than straight, you're hurting that child because you do not provide them with the knowledge to know that they are not alone and that they're not a freak. And I regard a lot of things like that. So just please, throughout this video, keep in mind that a lot of the stuff I'm saying only pertains to myself and everything I've kind of gone through when it comes to mental health. And so, yeah, please keep that in mind. Story time. That's what we're gonna call this. We're gonna call it a story time. So my battle with mental health really kind of started in first grade. No, not first grade. Oh, whoa, that's way too far back. In fourth grade. That's what I meant to say. Started in fourth grade. I had two really good friends, and found out in later years that they were not good friends. And I mean, I really kind of just started my battle with body positivity. You know, I was dipping my toes in. I was surrounded by skinny girls, and I did not feel pretty. I would look in the mirror and I would feel, you know, ugly and just bloated all the time. And it was like, you know, and it did not feel good, you know. No negative feeling ever does. That would be odd. And it kind of just got worse when I got to junior high in 7th grade. I was bullied and I was the prime target in my class. Starting at the end of 7th grade, I had some toxic relationships that at the time I didn't realize were bad for me. And I just kept living my life. You know, I was taking blow after blow and not realizing that I should be separating myself from the situation. I had a really bad fight with a friend in 10th grade, and that really kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, it was kind of the catalyst for the whole thing of, hey, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for years. I need help. I mean, you hear all these horror stories about people who try to like help themselves, but they use alcohol, they use drugs, and that leads them into just a deeper, darker path. And I knew my parents would, one, kill me if I turned to those, but I knew it was not the thing for me. You know, it's not going to solve my issues. I mean, one of my exes turned to alcohol, and as much as I wished that they wouldn't drink, I understood why they did, and as much as I wanted to help, they didn't want it, and I knew I knew, I may not want the help, but I kind of need it. And this is really where the trigger warning applies. And there were times that I felt suicidal. I have had a couple different, have I? I've only had like one or two, I think that's more accurate, occasions since then where I've really questioned, whether or not life is, whether or not it's really worth, me still going. And I just try to keep telling myself, you have dreams, and yeah, it kind of feels hopeless now, but you have dreams and you should be working towards those dreams, and I try to keep that in mind. It's why I started this YouTube channel, was to put my voice out there and just work to make something of myself, work to reach people. And I'd like to believe I'm doing that. I'd like to believe that I am reaching people. And so I've been seeing a therapist for nearly a year now. Taking out June through August because of summer break, and my therapist I is contracted through the school that I go to, and I've really kind of gotten to a better place, I think, with my life and where I'm at. I've not been in a relationship for over a year now because my last one was really eye-opening for me, about, where my mentality is at and such, and I wanted to try to put myself back together into more of a stable place before I would even think about being dependent on a person like that. And there are days where I would love to believe, that I am stable enough, and I'm pretty sure I am. And and now I'm on meds to try to regulate a lot of this, because dealing with depression is hard. You have your harder days and you've got some easy days, and that's the way I refer to it. I don't refer to them as bad days. I don't refer to them as good days. I refer to them as, it was an easy day and it was a hard day. But I had a lot of people to help pull me out of this massive hole that I'd managed to dig for myself. And I mean, I took health class in freshman year, and we talked about mental health. It was one of the first things we covered, and I was sitting there and I was looking at all the symptoms and signs of depression. I did not apply any of them to myself. It just was not on my radar. And I think that was really kind of the first big problem, was the fact that I was not willing to apply that to myself. I was not willing to say, yeah, I recognize that in myself. I wasn't willing to do that. And it is hard, dealing with mental health is hard, and it is painful some days. There are days where it is just painful. There are days where getting out of bed seems like it is the worst idea in the world. There are days where it feels like my skull is just getting smaller and smaller, and it's just gonna crush me. It's like I'm trapped in my own head. And it is hard. And all I can ever do is try to think about the fact that it's only one day, and tomorrow I'm probably going to wake up and I'm going to be ready to I don't know, go for a walk, or, spend time with the Flirkin. I try to think day by day, because if I try to think week by week, then it seems very hard, so if I go day by day, I don't feel as overwhelmed by everything. Mental health is a very serious subject. It's not talked about, and it should, because like I said earlier, people are going to get hurt. People already have gotten hurt because they did not feel as though they had someone to talk to. I got lucky. I got so lucky that I have people willing to fight for me. And every day I try to think about that. I try to think of ways to make it so that someone else can smile. And there are people who have helped me throughout the years who don't even know it. Back in 4th grade when I was feeling ugly, I would listen to What Makes You Beautiful, and for 3 minutes I felt as if someone out there was going to love me for me. Listening to 5 Seconds of Summer during the fight with my friend, it made me feel like I wasn't so completely alone, like someone out there did understand what I was going through and the heartache I was feeling, And so to have that, to have someone be able to voice my own thoughts, it felt like a hug. It felt like someone understood. And they don't have to know me. They don't have to know me to understand. And that's really what I want to do with my life is, I want to help. I want people to feel as though I understand. Because that's what I want to do. I want to understand people, and I want to make the world a lot less lonely for people. I don't want people to be trapped in their heads. I don't want them to be, isolated mentally, because it's a dark place. Our minds are a dark place when we get trapped, And it feels like there's no one else in the world who's going to understand what you're going through. And all I have to say is, you're not crazy. You're not insane for thinking this way. You're not insane for being sad. You're not insane for just being there, for just being numb. You're not insane for that. You're having a hard day. And there may be a couple hard days. There may be a lot of hard days. But it might get better. I hope it gets better. Because if it doesn't get better, what are we going to do? So, that was depressing. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But you just gotta try to hope and pray that it gets better. You have to have a little bit of hope. You don't have to have a lot of hope, but just a little bit of hope that things are gonna get better, and that while today looks bleak, tomorrow may not. And just try to remember that I care. I care about you. Well, now that I've thoroughly depressed you for nearly 15 minutes, leave a comment. I always like seeing those. Whoa, hearing a comment, whoa. Subscribe. Okay, please. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye, guys.